Welcome to Perimenopause. How? This video is about the sometimes distressing symptom of spotting. So, spotting is a small amount of blood or menstrual bleeding that you find in your underwear, or when you've been to the toilet, you find it on your paper, the toilet paper. Common times for spotting are after sex, or before your period. After your period, when the main event and the main flow is stopped, it carries on spotting for ages. Sometimes you think it's never going to stop. And after exercise. So we'll look at why this happens. It's nothing to be alarmed about, really. It's a very, very, very common symptom. So spotting can be all sorts of colours and still be totally healthy. It can be brown, red, or a sort of pink and slightly translucent colour. It's all normal. As I said, it's really common in perimenopause. You should be checked by a doctor because it could be that your cervix is bleeding instead of it coming from your uterus. It is usually a sign of a bit of a hormone imbalance, but in perimenopause is totally about your hormones being messed up and fluctuating, so it's part of the course many times. So usually your doctor will recommend that you have a smear test just to check that your cervix is healthy. If you're not due for a smear test yet, sometimes they'll give you a nurse appointment, and the nurse will just have a look and see if your cervix looks healthy. So spotting can be stopped by taking a progesterone or a birth control pill. It can also be stopped if it's only mild spotting by taking a herb called Agnus castus vitex, and I would recommend that you take the dried herb in a capsule. It's usually 2 capsules a day, and for me that completely stops all my spotting, and I don't have any negative effects from it. So you can find that in our video about supplements. So let's have a look at the lining of the uterus and what happens with spotting. So this just explains how your uterus works anyway, with the roles of estrogen, which builds the uterine lining, and we'll see that as bricks. But the progesterone that your body makes is like the mortar, so that helps make the uterine lining strong and stable. So all month your uterine lining grows like this, grows away under the influence of estrogen, and then once you ovulate, your body starts making progesterone and the uterine lining gets strong and stable. This diagram of a uterus shows a completely healthy one with a normal-sized womb lining. Under the influence of too much estrogen, the uterine lining can get a bit thick. In the case of spotting, it's not usually as thick as this example. It's only a little bit overgrown. And that means that the stability of the womb lining is not great. So this is what happens. Maybe you might not have enough progesterone, and usually in the case of it not being enough, then your cycle will be a bit short. And if the ratio of estrogen to progesterone is not quite right, then also spotting occurs. So the progesterone is not quite as strong, and if you do any vigorous exercise, the uterine lining is not stable enough to stop bleeding. So some of the uterine lining comes away, and that's what causes the small amount of blood. Some women can be very worried that spotting tends to happen either during or after sex, or after a bowel movement, or after they've been for a pee. But actually it's really normal. If you think about where your bladder and your bowel are, when you have gone for a wee, then you've pressed down to open your bladder and, push the urine out. And the same with your bowel, you've pushed to get rid of the poo out of your bowel. And so you're moving all the muscles in your pelvis. So, of course, any blood that's waiting to come out of your uterus, all those muscles move and it displaces the already unstable uterine lining. The blood comes out and comes down the vagina. So it's completely normal. All those muscles moving, and sex is the same as well, or exercise or anything like that. All the muscles move, and what is due to come out comes out. So hopefully that's made you a bit less scared of your spotting. There's nothing terribly, horribly wrong with you. So if you found that useful, then please like and subscribe. The link to the group, as ever, is in the description box below. So thanks for watching, and cheerio.